General quarters, all hands man your battle stations.
Broadcasting live on WNN 1470 AM, 95.3 FM, iHeartRadio, and the World Wide Web. This is Make America Think Again with your Google Blacklisted host, Tom Trento.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Trento Hour, and I'm Suzi Gold. And today is Friday, a day after Thanksgiving, November 27th. I hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed our show yesterday, which we had quite a light show to enjoy the holiday. We've had our own Thanksgiving feast here with our turkey and stuffing and some traditional foods, and just to celebrate with all of our listeners. Yeah.
Well, not all of our listeners. Not all of our.
Not
listeners.
all of them.
No.
Oh, what happened?
There were. It was. Did you introduce your name? Did you say your name?
Did I say my name?
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
I was having a problem with my phone.
Oh, yeah. This is Suzi Gold with our host, Tom Trento.
Yeah, it was a great show. I thought it was a wonderful show. But we did have some, what would you call it? Constructive criticism.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. We'd like anybody wants to say anything, call up, text us. Right online. We love feedback.
Do you want to hear it?
I don't know if it's bad about me. I want to hear. No, I do want to hear. Yeah, we like.
Do you want to hear the constructive?
We need constructive criticism. It helps us be better.
We had it from someone who listens regularly, and I don't really speak much about my family.
Right.
Don't need to do that if I have a family or if I don't have. Everybody has a family,
Right.
But somebody that others have said we resemble one another. Something like that. Watches regularly, listens. Said that I wouldn't even give a pronoun if it's a he or she.
Oh, okay.
Their image of us has been changed.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. We come across on the air as together people who know the subject matter. Professionals. We're professionals at what we do.
Well, we fooled them
until somebody watched us eating on the air.
No,
eating.
Did we talk and eat at the same time?
Talking and eating. I reviewed the tape. Somebody reaching over into somebody else's dish and eating their food.
No way.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
It had to be me.
There were only three of us.
All right.
There were only three of us.
Now you know why I don't like to be on camera.
Family,
Now you know why I don't like to go on camera.
It was like, we thought you guys were like total professionals. You're eating there, munching and drinking, and food's coming out of your mouth, and a whole different image of the level of our intellect.
We were hungry.
We were hungry.
Yeah, feeding. It was a eating show. With a camera on us. That's what it was.
Eating show.
It was an eating.
It's like a dinner table show.
Yeah.
We should do one a week.
Yeah,
lose our whole audience.
That's the Ziggy Flicker show there.
We should have an etiquette show, maybe.
Yeah.
Proper way of eating.
But we love feedback. I think feedback's great. Any feedback. Look,
it's nothing to do with our professionalism.
Right. And it's also like, we really we have a script that we follow, and we have an agenda that we adhere to.
We do?
Well, it's a little loose.
Sort of.
No, but it's very much ad-libbed.
It's
right? It's ad-libbed, and but it's truly the information is coming from. We're cerebral, and we also have hearts. And
I have to pick my nose. Can I do that?
Don't do that. No, I don't. I think when people.
That's the reason I don't like criticism on air.
All right. Well, it's 9:08 in the morning on a Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday. I have my IDF shirt on in recognition of our work in Israel. We are going to Israel once again.
No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I've missed it.
A
year without going to Israel just wasn't good.
Ronnie is finalizing all the plans. We have dates. We'll be announcing them, and it's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a little different. Maybe even then we have to wear masks. But I think the world's getting used to that to some extent.
I'm not going on a plane 18 hours with a
with a
mask.
mask on. Yeah, big Supreme Court decision over the well, I was gonna say weekend. Wasn't a weekend. Cuomo wanting to lock down restaurants and homes and all of this stuff, and Supreme Court 5-1 decision. This stuff gets expedited.
No,
That's why it ran up to there. A 5-4 decision. If Ruth Bader Ginsburg was still alive, it would have gone the other way.
right.
She died. Amy Barrett got put in. This may be Donald Trump's greatest legacy, putting 3 conservatives on that court, because John Roberts went the other way once again. And the issue was whether or not the governor had the constitutional right to close churches and keep strip clubs open and restaurants and other facilities. And the Supreme Court said, Neil Gorsuch said in a very condemning way, he goes, how do you in your right mind keep open, restaurants, massage parlors, all these different things,
Bars, even bars, yeah.
and tell the people in churches, St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York, they couldn't have more than 10 people there.
Yeah.
So they just said absolutely unconstitutional and threw out his challenge, his law. And Governor Cuomo said, no big deal. We were talking about red zones. It's a misplaced decision by the court. But the left went crazy because they're saying, we see in the future, gay rights, abortion, all the social issues. We see this court deconstructing those
undo all those other
constitutional
5-4
rights.
decisions. 5-4 decisions
Yeah.
our way finally.
Yep. So, but there could be packing of the court, expanding the court if we lose this Georgia race. Our big idea for today is that Joe Biden is a fraud. That is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to substantiate that in this show very quickly. And what does that mean? What are the implications of that? If indeed he becomes the president, probably be president for 3 minutes, and then Kamala Harris will become the real president. There's serious problems, particularly if we lose Georgia. Joe Biden is a fraud. We cannot lose Georgia. That's our big idea for today. You ready for all this stuff?
Yeah.
I
this
think we
is
need to
gonna be a
open.
great
I think
show.
we need to open in prayer.
Prayer.
Yeah,
I think it's
think
a good.
so too. I think that would
that's a
be
good idea.
good.
I
Very
was a
good
kid.
and appropriate.
I was a kid. And
Actually, we have a prayer from Joe Biden. We'll let him do it.
No, not yet. No, Suzi's gonna pray for us. Actually, you're not gonna pray. You're gonna read from the Psalms. Psalm, which number is it?
I'm going to read Psalm 23.
As it used to be in our history that if you were in elementary school, public school, that had to be read. You'd do the Pledge of Allegiance, and Psalm 23
That's
was
right.
read every day.
That's right.
And in 1963, I think it was, Madeline Mary O'Hare filed a lawsuit that's a conflict of interest between church and state, and prevailed, wrongly prevailed, and the reading stopped. But on this show, we can exercise our First Amendment rights. Suzi, please open our
Sure,
show
I'm
with a
more
very
than happy to.
sort of a you're like an Old Testament prophetess, a woman prophet,
Okay.
reading from the Hebrew Scriptures.
Yeah, and this is a Psalm of David, because that's who wrote the Psalms. We call them in Hebrew Tehillim. The Lord is my shepherd; I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Very nice.
And what was that, Tom?
No, hang on.
No.
I'll let me.
I was just trying to figure
Let
out.
me call him
I
up.
was trying.
I got a flow here. I got a flow here. That was very nice.
Yeah,
what was
that's
that
a
again?
Great Psalm.
What was that again?
23.
Psalm 23.
Psalm
David.
23.
Yep.
Okay.
Psalm 23.
Mhm.
There's a lot of commentary now by the left, by the media, the marketing arm basically for Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris about the difference. They're really talking now about the difference between the spirituality, the humility, the religiosity, the commitment to God between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Donald Trump is a big bull in a church running around. He's the furthest thing from a Christian, whereas Joe Biden is a devout Catholic, 78 years. The guy's 78 years old, been in government 50 years. And it's interesting, as an evangelical, I never defended Donald Trump's Christianity. I said, look, I'm not even sure the guy's a Christian. I wasn't voting for a pastor for the country. I was voting for a guy who can get things done, vis-a-vis Operation Warp Speed with the vaccine. And I saw him but I did watch his spiritual progress, and a lot of evangelicals around him, and he was starting to kind of get comfortable with even some Christian words. Is he a born again Jesus believer? I don't know. I see sometimes an indication, but mostly not. But I never said, here's a devout Christian Donald Trump who's bringing the principles of the Bible. But this is what you hear from the left. Here's a devout Catholic bringing healing the soul. Their motto is healing the soul of a nation. All right. So over the weekend, over Thanksgiving, Joe Biden had a Thanksgiving message.
Really?
Did you know that?
You know what? I didn't hear it.
Well, that's what
I would love
that's
to
what I was
hear it.
confused about.
He had a Thanksgiving message.
But you guys are calling it something weird. What are you guys?
We had a Thanksgiving message, and let's just play a little part where he refers to the scriptures.
That's why I'm confused about how you pronounce it.
Well,
Well, maybe
just where he refers to the scriptures.
Okay.
So,
and if we do, and I'm sure we can proclaim the Palmist.
See,
with the Palmist who wrote these following words.
A palm reader?
Palm reader?
The Lord is my strength and my shield.
Well, see, that's what I was confused about.
I want to get that over again. I didn't want to draw attention to it.
Palmist.
What did you hear?
A palmist.
What did you hear?
Well, that's what I was confused about, because you guys said it's called Psalms. I thought you guys were mispronouncing it because our president, he's calling our future
a palmist.
A palmist.
Palms.
And is he referring to the same thing?
It's PSALM.
Did he refer to the Psalms as the palms?
Palms.
Well, that's what I was confused about.
Now, for all the people listening, driving in your cars.
This is our president of the United States.
This
future, right?
He couldn't read it. He didn't read it off the teleprompter.
Now, this
right.
is, if you learn nothing else today than the whole day, this is what you need to learn. And we're gonna drive it into you so you never forget it. Because what was the big idea for the show?
Yeah.
Joe Biden
is an idiot.
Biden is a fraud.
He's a fraud. And here's why. We're going to play it again. He is reading a prompter. Now, there's only two options. You're reading the prompter. You see the word Psalmist, a writer of the Psalms. You just read Psalm 23. Psalmist, P.S. Anybody in their right mind, you don't even have to be a Christian. When you see Psalmist, you know it's a silent
everybody
P,
knows the word,
and it's a hard
Psalm.
S, Psalmist. So either cognitively, he couldn't make the connection between this word having a silent P, or theologically, as a devout Catholic, he doesn't know what a psalm is versus a
because
palm.
like you said, when we were kids, and certainly when he was a kid, he read the psalm in school. We all did. I did too in public school. So so there was like no connection.
He's a religious fraud or a cognitively disabled old man. One of the two. I'm going with a religious fraud. I'm going with both. I'm going with both. Let's play it again. But I think we decoded it here on the Trento show. I think we decoded what he was really saying. But play this clip of video. Listen carefully.
And if we do, and I'm sure we can proclaim the Palmist with the Palmist who wrote these following words.
He doesn't even know who the
Lord is my strength and my shield.
He's a zombie there, first of all.
Well, he's even messing it up.
And the palmist who wrote.
He's even messing up the scripture part of it too, isn't he?
He's messing the whole thing up. But we're not making a mountain out of a molehill. we're making a
palmist out of a palm.
Yeah, we're making a Mount Everest out of an anthill because it's that important. He is a fraud, and we're going to establish in this show he's also the beneficiary, if this happens, of a fraudulent election. So we have a double fraud here, but I think we decode it, Mark. And our research department, we put them to work
our research
on trying to decode. I think this is going to be a cottage industry. When he speaks, somebody's going to have to decode him.
Yeah.
So we have a graphic here. We think we know what he was referring to. For the viewers on theunitedwest.org, and go there. Even though you're getting these warnings, we keep fixing them, but big tech keeps throwing them up. There's nothing wrong with our website, nothing whatsoever. Go there, watch the show at theunitedwest.org. We're going to show you a graphic, how we decoded his reference to the Palmist. Here it is.
Right, there you go.
There it is. There it is. What do you see there?
There's a good lifeline there. That line that goes by the thumb, that's the lifeline.
What do you see there?
A picture
We have a
Tell the audience,
career
tell the
line.
listeners
No,
what you
listeners, I
see.
see it.
It's a palm. This is what you would typically see if you were to pass by, a building and it says, hey, palm reading. And you see the lines on the hand, which is each one is supposed to be indicative of, your life, your career, your love life. And
So he was really talking about palm
reading.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. We found another piece of evidence. China over Thanksgiving, very happy Joe Biden got elected.
Oh, yeah.
So Joe Biden knows this. So he was referring to the palm reading book. He had his palm read. And because now of a close relationship with China, here's what we found. More evidence right here on this next one. Check this graphic out. Here we go.
Oops,
And
oops, oops.
here
There
we
it
are.
is.
Oh, that's very funny. You'll be rich.
For those of you not
That's the
watching,
palmist.
we have a palm with an arrow. It says "You'll be rich" and Joe
Because
Biden.
it's in the hand.
Because China is loving Joe.
Yeah.
He's going to be rich, and Hunter is,
and
I think,
his
on his way to
family and
Beijing.
everybody connected
Yeah.
to him.
So, this is very, very important for a devout Catholic not to be able to pronounce Psalms. You got a serious problem there. You got a fraudulent individual who may assume the mantle of leading this country. If anything, Donald Trump was anything but a fraud. I mean, he was just a bull in a china shop, which is exactly what you need. Switching the metaphor.
What you see is what you get with Donald Trump.
He told you. He had an argument with a Reuters reporter over Thanksgiving, who was challenging him on something. He goes, "You're a lightweight. You're nobody. You don't talk to the president of the United States like that. I'm the president. You don't talk to me like that. Next, you over here." So, Biden, who knows what this guy's going to do? What a mess.
Well, the other thing is look, when you have these politicians, all they do is count on the teleprompter, as Biden does. And, Trump speaks from his heart. And a lot of people didn't like that so much because, he did say what was on his mind, but what he said was what he thought, what he believed, and what he said he was going to do, he did. So it's really the difference between reading a teleprompter and reading a speech that someone else wrote that's telling you how to think versus a president who really thought for himself.
I got to take issue with both you guys. I got to take an issue with both you guys this morning.
Oh.
You're talking like Donald Trump is in the past tense and that he's done. He's not. That the Biden is president and that Donald Trump is done.
Well,
he ain't done.
Yeah. So let's clarify that.
Yeah,
Biden,
he's
first of all,
not
there
done.
is no office that's called president-elect. That was something that was
All
made
right.
up by Obama. There is no president-elect position. And it's the mainstream media is trying to brainwash.
Well, you guys are talking in the past tense. The whole morning you've been talking in the past tense like this, and it's
Well, no,
I've been qualified.
Yeah, no, I did. I think,
Well, I've heard it.
I'm
I've been
glad you
qualifying
told
it.
me. Thank you, because I think I said something. But
Okay.
Wait, I just got a text from Tom and Carol Hayes. They said, "What do you call the Sunday before Easter?"
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Psalm Sunday, obviously.
Psalm Sunday. It's
Sunday.
called Psalm
Sunday.
Sunday. That's the devout Joe Biden, the devout. He's a fraud, ladies and
He's
gentlemen.
a fraud.
You cannot be a devout Catholic and not know how to pronounce Psalms. Call it palms. It's that simple. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. You could be a Catholic who doesn't know what the word means. You can't be a devout Catholic, someone who is in the scriptures, someone who's following the principles of Jesus Christ, somebody who's doing the sacraments in the Catholic Church. You can't be a devout Catholic and mispronounce Psalms. Impossible. You're either a wayfaring, fallen, backslidden Catholic, which makes much more sense for him. And one criteria, Willie G will tell you this, to validate whether or not someone's a devout Catholic is the issue of human life. If you're for abortion, you're certainly not a devout Catholic. Joe Biden has been for abortion for most of his political career.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And he's kind of not
I can't
there.
wait till we're in Israel
Cognitive issues.
on
He's
Psalm
like
Sunday.
blank
Yeah,
or
yeah, Psalm
something.
Sunday.
We've been in Israel on Psalm Sunday.
Yeah, we have been.
It's a lot of fun there. So, all right. He's a fraud. We have established that in terms of his communication and his relationship to his own faith. We're going to establish that now in terms of the factual matter, the evidentiary matter of the material being presented, showing that in at least two states, Michigan and Georgia, you cannot certify if half of what Sidney Powell put together, half of the evidence is anywhere near the truth. Georgia has to uncertify, and Michigan has to uncertify, and Pennsylvania, which there was a hearing on Wednesday before our show on Thursday. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth, is going to have to uncertify if that material presented by Giuliani. Now we got two tracks.
Right.
We got Giuliani going after the old school approach, ballot stuffing, all of this. We have Sidney Powell. That's why they separate it. Two different
tracks,
legal jurisprudential tracks. Sidney has pulled in her complaints in her briefing. She's pulled in Iran, China, Germany, Switzerland, all these various countries, seeing how all this data has been bouncing around and people have ownership of Smartmatic, the software that runs the Dominion machines. Dominion came out. This is great. Impossible, physically impossible, technically impossible. No way this happened. Never happened. That's going to be very interesting. They set that bar very high, and we're going to bring in Steve Breyer. We got to try to get Steve Breyer on the show. A name very few people know. Steve Breyer is the former developer and CEO of an online company called Overstock.com. Brought it up to $2 billion in an IPO, all of that. He's a multimillionaire. He launched an independent effort by hiring hackers to see how Dominion, Smartmatic, all of these technical components of our system can be breached and compromised. And we're going to read some of he put a whole website together presenting evidence. Yet CNN and these other shows say President Trump, in a rant not based in reality, has presented more debunked theories about the fraud in the election without ever even mentioning that federal lawsuits have been filed. Unbelievable.
Conspiracy theory. That's all you hear.
Conspiracy theories, yeah. Before we get into the presentation of the evidentiary side of what we're doing today, show Joe Biden is a fraud. Frank Gaffney, a good friend of ours, Center for Security Policy. He over the weekend was on Breitbart over the past couple of days.
I know, it felt like it was a weekend, though.
Yeah. And he is asking all patriots to go to the Great American Project, GAP website, and to affirm a statement that they're putting together in light of the chaos that we have been in over the past year, in light of the chaos that's imminent if the Electoral College, and Trump said yesterday, Mark, he was asked in the press conference, if the Electoral College selects Joe Biden, will you leave the office? What do you think he said?
Yeah.
Yes.
He said, of course I will. You know
Right,
that.
because that's the law.
You know that, you idiot. He didn't put you idiot on. He goes, of course I will. You know that. Right. Then he qualified it. He said, but if they do, the Electoral College selects Joe Biden, it's a bad decision because there's sufficient evidence to recertify all of these that I won. He got 80 million votes. Are you out of your mind? He got 80 million. He underperformed Obama all over the place, and he got 80 million votes. It was cooked. The books were cooked.
And he didn't leave the basement. And he
didn't
didn't
leave the basement.
campaign.
Rope-a-dope.
We don't even know what he stands for.
All right, so here's the. I'm gonna read a little bit of the. I thought I was gonna read it.
From the Great American Party.
Yeah. Can you put that up there?
Yeah.
The Great American Party. A little statement we're gonna read. You and I'll read it.
Okay.
I'll read one word. You read the next.
Word or line? Wait, should we do line by line?
Let's try the headline in word.
Now
word,
there's
okay?
a wire in the middle.
The word.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we'll do 3.
Oh.
You ladies first, then
Okay.
Mark, then me. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so I get the or the.
Mark, you're next.
Well, you said I was
The?
next. Who's next? I'm next.
I'm
or-
last. Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Declaration.
Of
The
Great.
American.
party.
Okay, that's a loser way of doing anything. We'll have nobody listening to
The
the
Thanksgiving
show.
Declaration of the Great
America
American
Party.
Yeah, we'll have nobody listening to the show if we did it that way. But you know what? It's risky. Oh, it's going to be hard to read.
Oh, this is interesting.
Go ahead. Put it up a little bit.
Hmm?
You got to slide it up because I lost mine on my computer somehow in the hustle and bustle.
There you go. Is that better?
That's good.
Oh, that's good.
Can you read that?
Yeah, I can
Go
read
ahead.
that. At the founding of our country in 1776, courageous Americans pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to secure liberty from a government that was unaccountable and that denied them rights given to all men by their Creator. On this day dedicated to prayerful Thanksgiving, as we come together as families and a nation in prayerful celebration of our great national experiment, current generations of Americans must resolve, like our forefathers, to resist tyranny and preserve freedom by declaring and pursuing a new founding for this country.
Very
Such,
nice.
we want more or we're good?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. If you can go up a little more, it goes on to say the evident hijacking of this year's election through comprehensive fraud, through corruption and other misdeeds and errors that, if allowed to stand, would disenfranchise half the country, delegitimizes the politicians who stand to benefit from such wrongdoing, and preclude in the future the free and fair elections absolutely essential to the operation of our constitutional republic. The failure of the nation's two dominant parties that represent the vast majority of Americans and their commitment to limited, accountable, truly representative government and the free exercise of our God-given liberties.
The restriction in particular of our constitutionally guaranteed freedom of speech by the cumulative constraints imposed by traditional media, technology, cartels, and big government bureaucrats and regulations. The indoctrination of our children by government-dominated educational systems that disinform them about Americans' exceptionalism and encourage their embrace of sovereignty-sapping and liberty-crushing ideologies and political systems. And
it goes on to basically say, we've had enough of this. We've got to return to the principles that made this country great. The recognition of natural rights given by God and the agreement, the compact and contract that citizens make to follow the rule of law. We're getting away from that, and we're starting to violate these inherent rights, the Bill of Rights that were given to us through God, through natural law. We got to get back to that. We have to fight for that. That's what this pledge is standing for, and it makes all the sense in the
Been
world.
saying it for the last 10 years. What are you talking about, Tom? That's the reason it makes sense.
We have been, because we've been on the leading edge of these battles, but this Great American Party pledge is calling for all Americans who sat around the Thanksgiving Day table to recognize it's time for this silent majority to step up.
that's right.
Because the unsilent minority are leading sway, and if they get the executive office, it's going to be even that much more difficult.
Yeah, let's sign another petition that that Google can strip off and send out to their hit list.
All right, it's 9:34. Tom Trento, your host here on the concluding day of a fascinating week. In that press conference yesterday, when Trump was being asked by these reporters if he would leave and all of that. He said he would. He said the Electoral College would be wrong. And he says, but you watch the next 2 weeks, he said. There's going to be some very interesting developments in the next 2 weeks. Well, we have some of them for everybody today.
This is big.
So, all right, let's get into it. Sidney Powell, I think we have established that there isn't a break between Sidney Powell's work and Giuliani's work.
It's a strategy.
It's a technical strategy to pursue, to put the enemy in this case is the Democrat Party, to have them fight a two-front war. Instead of the one-front war of Giuliani and Powell. Powell's come around the flank, Giuliani's going head on, and now they've got to adjust. And how do they adjust? By saying, oh, it's been debunked, there is no evidence. That's how they adjust it. But Sidney Powell filed a lawsuit in our focus. Tell them about our focus over the next 40 days.
So our focus is to, we are
Georgia.
working. I know that.
She knows that.
This is cut to the chase, Georgia, right?
Georgia.
Mark,
Georgia.
Let's go.
Yeah, so our focus is on Georgia. There's a senatorial runoff race. And that's where our focus is, to ensure that the Marxists do not get in and make sure that the Republicans do. We have Ossoff, who is not the guy that we're in favor of. And we also have
Warnock,
who I call Warlock. That's a good way to remember his name. They're Marxists, so we are not. We're opposed to them, and we are in favor of the Republican Party, and for reasons that they stand for what is truthful, what is just, what is right for America, and truly will represent Georgia the way they should be represented.
All right, now, Mark, I'm going to throw you a little curveball here. I gave Mark a very specific script this morning. We're changing things around a little bit.
oh, that's new.
Where's Damon? We need Damon here.
Where is
this
Damon?
Is a good time to ask for at least some money to get Damon in here so we can.
So Damon is really a he multitasks, and he works in so many capacities. He does a lot of filming. He helps Mark. He's and he also helps in the control room, and he's multi-talented, and adds a whole other dimension to the United West. We really need to get him here. In order to get him here, we need to make sure that he has a salary, because he needs to make income.
At least his expenses covered.
At least expenses covered. So and he's not an extravagant kind of guy. He really
No, he is extravagant.
no,
That's not
he
a
lives
correct
very
word.
He lived in
he
this
lives
studio.
simply.
No, no,
He lives
yeah,
simply.
but he
Not a
is-
big salary. We're not talking about a big salary, but
Describe
we
him
need
as,
donations so that we can get him here, so that that he can earn some money while he is work. It is work. It's work for all of us, but we do volunteer here. But in order for Damon to come here, he needs to make some money so he could put food on his table.
But we got a problem when they go to the website.
So there is a problem, and you know what? This is what we're gonna. If God forbid, if there's a Biden presidency,
Stacey Abrams is
God forbid, they're just, that they are blocking us on Google, they block us on social media, on Facebook, you name it, and also they attack our website, theunitedwest.org, so that now when you click on the donate button, it's not working. So what you have to do is you'll see on the
It may
bottom.
not work.
there's
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it
doesn't.
works.
But it's
Sometimes
safe.
it doesn't. But what you have to do is write in a good old fashioned check and send it to the P.O. box, which you'll see on the website. And that's what we have to do. And you know what? It has to be done, because we can't let them win. We can't I think you heard President Trump in Pennsylvania. He was one of the callers. He called in,
That was amazing.
and it was wonderful how he spoke, because he spoke like a true leader. To me, it was almost like this father figure protecting America. And he said, don't let them bully you. I don't know if he used that word bully, but that was the way it sounded, was like, don't let them take control you. They will not win this. Do not let them have the control. Do not let them bully you. And you know what? That's
Your
that
audience
way
was
we
clapping
feel.
when he said that.
Yeah. And it was like, it may look a certain way. The media may talk a certain way. Don't believe it. Don't follow along with it. And that's the way we feel at the United West. You know what? If you can't push the donate button, then you know what we do? We write checks and we mail it in. We're going to find ways to get around it. So we can't let them win out and say, can't click the
It's
button.
a catch-22 because our mailing address is on our website, but it's very simple. The United West, very
Right.
simple. P.O. Box 1029.
Right.
1029. Lake Worthless, Florida. Lake Worth, Florida. Very simple.
Very
33460.
simple.
But I
Very
think if
simple.
you go there, you go down the bottom, you'll see the address down the bottom.
Right.
You can mail a check.
So I just wanted to add something is when I was saying earlier about Georgia and what we're doing in our fight for Georgia. It's not just that we are against these Marxists, but we are for those that really truly represent us and represent our values and will represent Georgia in the way they need to be represented and in a positive light. And that would be Purdue and Loeffler. So if I didn't mention their names, then that was remiss because they are truly leaders that we want to, we emulate, and they are leaders that will speak the truths for Georgia and for the rest of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Got some people asking for the website for Great American Party. I will put that up right here in a second. There it is right there. Great American Party. It is actually called greatamericanparty.com. Greatamericanparty.com. That's pretty simple. Greatamericanparty.com. Very interesting website that is calling Americans to get back to first principles. Mark, put up Stacey Abrams. Joe Biden is a fraud, and he is propped up by the Obama team that he is surrounding himself with. And then on a state level, he's propped up by individuals like Stacey Abrams. Don't take her lightly. She's an extremely formidable opponent, extremely formidable. Her new move now, she still hasn't conceded the 2018 gubernatorial loss to.
But Trump should concede.
But Trump, everybody, that's just nonsense. Governor Kemp in Georgia. She lost, I think, by 60,000 votes. Pretty close, actually. And they had recounts and did all of this. But she has taken the past 2 years from 2018, like Andrew Gillum was supposed to do. We had a little problem on March 13th. The boy did. He's been quiet. I thought he'd be a little louder. Maybe he's going to help Stacey. Stacey dug in right after the loss in 2018 November and started forming coalitions to bring Stephen Phillips. Brown is the new white, a majority of colored people of color, whether you're, half black, half white, Asian, Native American, whatever you are. Hey, you got a color on you. Come over here. Come with the proven progressive liberals. Together, demographically, we make up 51% of the population. Now we need to turn out the vote. That was Stacey's move for the past 2 years. Guess where she's going next? Look at what the headline on Breitbart says. Check this out if you're watching on theunitedwest.org. Here's where Stacey is now going because she believes these individuals.
Shocker.
Can you read that, please, Suzi?
Stacey Abrams to coach Hollywood elites on how they can help win Georgia.
Now, this breaks my heart because we have no money to fight the battle we want to in Georgia.
Unbelievable.
She's coaching Hollywood elites because she's saying they are the new troubadours. They are the new prophets, the new spokespersons for the progressive left. They understand it. They being list the very, Robert
De
Niro and Sean Penn and Alyssa Milano and all these people. They are enlightened because they're very, very wealthy. They can do this unique thing of making believe there's someone else, and they make you pay money
right
to go see them do that. They're actors.
They influence people.
They
People like them
influence-
as an actor. So then when they say something and they're at an Emmy Award or whatever, they're, then they say something, people believe it.
So she's not going to help to corral them to join. She's going to coach the Hollywood elites as how they can do a specific date sensitive deal like we're doing, win in Georgia. That's what she's doing. That's going to be a problem. She's very, very good.
Well, they could be on a talk show, right? And all they have to do is put in a few words or say something negative or something positive about, and just throw it in randomly so that the public hear them, and then they're quoted all over the place.
They're going to get Oprah, a black prominent woman, to say Reverend Raphael Warnock is the most prestigious man of God I've ever seen. Can you imagine Oprah?
And he believes in abortion, right? And
because of his concern for humanity.
Yes, and and justifies that that's okay with the church.
Okay,
how does that work?
How does that work?
Well, it's brown is the new white. Tom.
That's it.
And well, I actually have a real quick video on that.
All right, let's see it, and then we'll get into Sidney Powell's suit in Georgia. We're going right to Georgia.
People are not going to vote if you don't talk to them, if you don't hire people from their community.
Freeze that for a second. Tell everyone what's going on here.
Yeah, this is Steve Phillips talking with Stacey Abrams, and he's waxing and poetic how great Stacey is, how she's the role model, how she is the new face of how everybody should emulate her. And Stacey's, I'm going to use Steve Phillips' Brown is the New White book as my template.
And this is May of 2016.
Right. Yep.
Turning atheists into Catholics.
Before the election, where they were laughing that Trump even had a chance.
Right.
And here we go.
I think we just need to get Baptists to go to church. We have the voters. We have voters of color, and there are two groups. Steve alluded to it earlier. In 2008, President Obama lost Georgia by 205,000 votes without spending $1. In 2012, he lost by 305,000 votes, and that was when everyone in the South was angry. We, in 2014, had a very competitive Senate and governor's race, and the margin of loss where Republicans wiped out the South. We lost by less than 200,000 votes. At the same time, we have almost 1 million people of color who are unregistered and eligible to vote. Georgia does not disenfranchise ex-felons. But more than that, we have 600,000 low propensity voters. So voters who voted either in 08 or in 12, but not in 10 or 14. And no one has reached out to them to convince them to vote. You only need 200,000, maybe 300,000 of them to win. We did a program in 2014 to test out this theory, because it is a theory, with at the cost of $9.80 per vote. We turned out 197,000 low propensity voters. The average turnout rate among that group was 36.3%. We were able to boost it to 71% simply because we talked to them. And Steve was instrumental in getting that done. He was instrumental in helping raise the funds for that. And if you look at page 100, he mentions it. The point being that with a modest investment, we were able to demonstrate proof of concept. Had we been able to double that investment, we would have won that Senate race. Had we tripled it, we would have won the Senate race and that governor's race, and Georgia would be a blue state today. We are exactly what Brown is the New White is telling you. It is a combination of progressive whites, Latino, African American, Asian Americans who, when given the ability to vote for the candidate of their choice and knowing about the election, they will vote the right way every single time, and we win.
Let Steve say something.
And that really is why I wanted Stacey to be part of this conversation, is that quite literally, I feel the work that she's doing is a manifestation of the concepts that we're actually talking about, and that Georgia as a state represents the potential of what the country, the direction that it should be moving in. And that these are the areas that are going to be leading the future of the country.
Sure.
Arizona should be coming. Yay!
Please.
Yeah, the frustrating part is, well, Mark, go ahead.
They say it in public. In a public forum, they're telling you right out loud what they're going to do.
They're telling you the strategy to destroy the country.
Right.
And
nobody's believing it.
We see it. We understand it. We're prophets in the sense of pointing your focus on something that's been said 2006. What was that? 2016. That was. And now it's coming to play in Georgia over the next 40 days. And she has the money, Stephen Phillips and all of his wealthy people pouring money to her because she's proven herself at turning out low propensity voters, voters of color, all of that.
Now she's going to Hollywood.
Now she's going to Hollywood to bring them out.
She's the role model. She's a template.
America, you're going to lose Georgia. You're going to lose this country unless you make investments in people like us who have the capability to do what they're doing on the left to do in the evangelical community. It's the only way this thing is going to be won in Georgia. There's no other magic. We did it here in Florida. That's the way it works. It's that simple.
We just uncover. We exposed them. We like Gillum. We exposed Gillum. It's just, Gillum is a carbon copy of Stacey Abrams.
Yep.
Carbon copy.
All right, let's go to Georgia with Sidney Powell. On Wednesday night, she said, surprise, everybody. The Kraken has been released. And she filed a lawsuit in Georgia with 30 allegations. And each allegation is obviously a part of a complaint. An allegation is an unproven complaint. And that's what court is for. You go before a trier of fact, and you have to prove your case. If you're a good attorney, when you have 30 allegations, at least 20 of them are going to have tremendous merit. Sometimes you throw, I've been in, again, lawsuits, and you go, let's throw a few things at the wall. We'll see what sticks. There may be a few of those in here, but at least 20, 25 of these are fundamentally sound. Now, the issue is going to be, you're on the 10-yard line, you're down by 5 points, and there's 7 seconds left. You got one play, maybe two. Can you pull it off with the time remaining? That's going to be the issue.
That's the thing. It's really down to the wire.
Down to the wire.
We have what, 2 weeks?
We have
a little over
the
2
14th.
weeks.
Yeah. Let's look at some of the allegations that Sidney Powell has made in her lawsuit filed in the state of Georgia. Number one, the suit alleges the software used by Dominion machines, and I hope everyone understands, Dominion is a machine that is used to count, tabulate, process the actual
That
vote
comes from Venezuela.
when you push a screen. Now in Florida, we don't have that in our county, Palm Beach. We had to fill out a piece of paper and then they put it into the machine. The software used by Dominion machines was accessed. This is her first allegation.
Right out the gate.
And it's like, I don't even know if I believe it. I don't even know if I believe it. It seems so outrageous.
She does not lie.
You're not an attorney of her stature, a federal prosecutor of her stature, that puts out as the first allegation something as bizarre as this. Here's what she says. The software used by the Dominion machines was accessed by agents of malicious actors such as China and Iran. Boom.
Wow.
China and Iran got into this.
Woo!
Quote, in order to monitor, why did China and Iran get into this? In order to monitor and manipulate elections, close quote, including the 2020 election. The allegation is based on a redacted, what does redacted mean? Blanked out. The guy's name is blanked out for his own safety.
Right.
A redacted declaration of former electronic intelligence analyst under the 305th Military Intelligence. Quote, by using servers, and this is from that whistleblower essentially, by using servers and employees connected with rogue actors, China, Iran, and hostile foreign influences combined with numerous easily discoverable leaked credentials, Dominion neglectfully allowed foreign adversaries to access data and intentionally provide access to their infrastructure in order to monitor and manipulate elections, including the most recent one in 2020, the suit says. Let's
Mhm.
stop there.
Bam.
Wow. She really
All right,
came out
if
with a
that's the only-
punch.
If that's the only allegation she has,
That's the only one, except the 29 other
Others.
ones
if
that
that was the
follow
only
it.
one, that would be game over.
Now, for her to prove that in a court of law, a case like that could take 2 years.
That's
Right.
right.
Getting all the witnesses together, getting they're not going to have jury trials on this. This is going to go right to judges. You can't waste time with juries. So everything's got to be expedited. And
now with COVID, I don't even think there are juries, right? 'Cause
yeah,
they can't
juries.
sit next to
That's
each
a good
other.
point. Yeah.
Let's go through the other ones really quick before we can.
Well, I think we're gonna continue this next week because there's so much stuff. I want to jump over. You don't have to go there. You don't have to go there, but I want to introduce Patrick Byrne, Byrne. Patrick Byrne is the guy who took over Overstock.com, different name,
that one.
10 years
Steve
ago.
Brin,
And he is a libertarian, never voted for a Democrat,
Steve
never voted.
Brin.
Patrick Brin.
Oh.
I said the wrong name.
Oh,
before. It's
okay.
Patrick Brin.
Brin. Okay.
He never voted for a Democrat, never voted for a libertarian, and saw all this stuff going on. And he hired a bunch of professional hackers, computer experts. And he said, let's take a look at this ourselves. Let's go into the system. Let's go into the data. Let's go into the studies. And let's figure out if what Giuliani and Sidney Powell are saying makes any sense whatsoever. And he put it on his website, Deep Capture. And he concludes, election 2020, if you're watching on theunitedwest.org, was rigged. And then he presents the evidence. He says decisive but not widespread election fraud occurred on November 3rd. When you read the evidence he presents, he said it was decisive and not widespread. Guess why?
Because it was selected, certain states were impacted. So it wasn't
Right.
widespread for the whole country, right?
Yeah, they're
selected.
hiding their cheating.
Selected
They're going to just cheat where they need to
where they need
in
to.
select states to get this thing under the radar.
Understanding this all, his website is behind this. This is not including the Sidney Powell stuff. A lot of the stuff that's
This
in
was
here.
his own
This was
independent
independent,
research.
but it corroborates, and that's why I stopped at number one. It corroborates what Sidney said as her first allegation in Georgia. His website, which is called Deep Capture, deepcapture.com. And you go to 2020 was rigged. Here's the evidence. And he lays it out with charts. He hired statisticians.
Wow.
He does the quantitative theoretical probability through a statistical forensic research. Now, by the way, Patrick Byrne has about 4 degrees he taught at Stanford philosophy. He's a brilliant intellectual, and he's very legitimate. He used statistical analyses to conclude that you're in the quadrillion percentages that these numbers, I hadn't even heard of a quadrillion percentages. So the point is, and next week, because Georgia's so important, we're going to lay out the evidence. As this were a court of law, we'll lay out the evidence, and we're going to look at how the mainstream media deals with this forensic information. If you're watching on theunitedwest.org, you can see some of the material in front of you. Is this amazing or what?
It's incredible. Everybody really should tune in so you could see
Yeah.
these graphs.
The-
It's
the-
really
The
incredible.
deep capture stuff is really fascinating.
Nobody's doing what we're doing. Nobody's presenting the evidence and explaining it in a
Concise
format where you can talk about it and deal with it without rush for a commercial.
Yeah, magically 54,000 votes paired in Michigan. Magically, another 142,000 votes.
The
appeared.
Sharpies, see the Sharpies
Look
there? I
at
know we're running out
that.
of time. The Sharpies, remember that
Yes,
controversy?
they gave some people
the
Sharpies.
woman of the supervisor of the elections there said, use ballpoint pens up to November 3rd, switch to Sharpies on November 3rd. Unbelievable.
I know.
And the Sharpies.
And then, and then you have 100,000 votes for Biden. at one spike within 90-minute time.
In counties where he doesn't get any votes.
Right.
Yeah.
All
Next
within
Where
a-
it's absolutely impossible.
all three of these-
Statistically impossible.
all three of these things happen within a 90-minute period of window.
All right, we got to go. But next week, we're going to
Unbelievable.
evaluate the evidence. You can be the jury. You can make up your own mind. Have a wonderful, have a safe weekend.
Have a
right?
great